Hey guys, I'm Chef T-Max. Welcome back to the kitchen. Today, we're gonna do a simple black truffle vinaigrette. Sounds fancy, it is. You're gonna love it, and your friends are gonna even like it better. So click subscribe if you're not doing that already. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video and ring that bell, and I'll send you new things I have coming up. See you soon. All right, guys, simple vinaigrette, okay? Can go with a ton of different salads. It can be just spooned on top of a piece of roasted fish or a nice piece of roasted chicken. It's wonderful. So let me show you how to make it. So first thing I'm gonna do is I use shallots. So this is what a shallot looks like, right? And it's shell. I cut the root end off and then the tip, and then I peel it, just like you do an onion, same thing. And you're gonna get these two sides. You can see I cut it in half. Right? I'm gonna lay that down. Now the difference is it's like this tiny onion, okay? And it's much more tender in flavor. It's not as strong. Oh, I shouldn't say it's not as strong. I guess it's not as overwhelming as an onion can be if you're just eating it raw. So it's more delicate. And that's why you see a lot in French cooking because of the delicacy of it. It's a very fancy onion, right? You see it in a lot of sauces and things. So what I do is I cut straight down and then I cut back at an angle like that, like you were watching me do here. And that allows me to mince this at this point very fine, like this. And what you end up with is this perfectly minced shallot, like that. So the shallot, when I take the shallot, I put it in a pan. Now this shallot I have the same amount, and this is gonna be the perfect amount for this. I sauteed this with a little bit of olive oil until it got lightly golden brown, and then I deglazed it with just a couple tablespoons of apple vinegar. And I'm gonna put that in my bowl here. And you can see that. Look how beautiful that looks, right? This is this beautiful sauteed shallot. Why don't we use garlic in this? I don't use garlic because garlic, I think, competes with the truffle. Truffle itself grows in the ground, very similar like garlic, and has that scent of garlic. Even though it doesn't have that strong flavor and bite, it's got a different flavor. I think it takes away from it. So I just like to use this shallot. It's super delicate, right? Now, to make this simple vinaigrette, we're gonna take some mustard, usually French, beautiful French style Dijon mustard. And when you hear Dijon mustard, what does that mean? Well, there's a lot of mustard in Dijon area of France because they have a lot of wineries. They plant the mustard between the grapes sometimes, so they got a lot of mustard production. And these mustard seeds, they're beautiful. They make a great wine-based white wine and mustard-based mustard that you could prepared mustard that you could serve at the table. So I go with a nice good one. You can go with just your standard grocery store Dijon mustard. That would be fine. We're going to put a nice little spot of that in there. Now I've got some truffle dust. Now this kind of thing you can buy online, black truffle dust. I'm going to put a little of that in. It's like a salt, almost like a seasoning with it. And a lot of times I'll put it on top of things too, but I use it for a lot of different stuff. So it's just powdered black truffle, okay? Then you don't need that. You can just have the truffle oil, the black truffle oil. And you can have white truffle oil if you prefer white truffle. It's definitely a more powerful flavor. I love it though. So with this, I'm going to put a little salt, probably half a teaspoon of salt, right? And then I'm going to put a little bit of lemon. I'm going to put a half a lemon because lemons are coming in season, so they're going to be very juicy, right? That was very juicy, right? And then after that, we're going to add it. We're going to whisk this a little bit, whisk it up like this, and now I'm going to add in my oils. So I add in a little bit of grapeseed oil, right? I'll tell you a story. Why are we using grapeseed oil? You said you're going to use truffle oil. Well, I remember buying truffle oil from my mom when she was alive, and she always she always loved that flavor. She's like, wow, that's a great flavor, Dean. This truffle that you make for me in the restaurants. And I said, so for Christmas, I bought her a bottle of truffle oil. And I remember she went to make a vinaigrette. So she used all of the oil, the truffle oil, she used for the whole oil recipe. So it was like a quarter cup of truffle oil. So you can imagine how terrible that was. And she told me, this is the worst thing I've ever tasted. And that's because she used truffle as the base oil. It's so overwhelming, you could never do that. Well, you can do it, it's going to be terrible. So with this, I put in grapeseed oil, half grapeseed oil. I do that because I don't want the overwhelming pepperiness of an extra virgin olive oil. So I use 2/3 of the recipe of oil. I use 2/3 blended oil, and I use 1/3 extra virgin olive oil. It's really good olive oil. We want that beautiful flavor of the olive oil. And then you're going to use about, I would say, probably a teaspoon of great black truffle oil, okay? Because that truffle oil is going to be very strong. You definitely do not want to overwhelm the dressing. And that's it. You're saying to yourself, what else is that? That's all you're going to teach me today? That's it. That's all I'm teaching you. How great is that? That's perfect. It's got the acidity of the lemon, the apple vinegar, both types of citric acid and a beautiful vinegar acid. Okay, it's got that wonderful truffle flavor. It's got the olive oil flavor, great Dijon. It's perfect. So this is a very fall vinaigrette. So I'm going to show you a quick salad that we can make with this. So with this, I've got some Brussels sprouts. I just cut the Brussels sprouts. A lot of times people will go, oh, you can eat Brussels sprouts raw? Yeah, of course you can. So you just cut them into these long, thin julienne strips. Well, how do you do a julienne strip? Let me show you really quick, okay? We're going to take a Brussels sprout. I cut the end of it off, right? And then I cut this in half, and I lay it down like this. And I slice it very thin. So it's basically the same thing you're doing on a big cabbage, right? If you cut a big cabbage in half, and you lay it down, and you slice it very thin, right? And the Brussels sprouts are super tender this way. They don't need to be cooked. They can be eaten raw, and you're going to really enjoy them. You just want to wash them before you slice them. Or you could wash them after. You could put this in like a nice fine strainer and strain the Brussels sprouts too after you've rinsed them with water, if you'd like to do that too. But mine are pretty clean. I cleaned them really well. And that's it. Now, these are going to go into my little bowl over here with, I've got some baby arugula in there. You could use kale, baby kale. You could use baby spinach. All of those are wonderful fall lettuces, okay? I've got some, let me move this over here now so you guys can see it. I've got red radish, so I just sliced some red radish. Red radish is really nice in a salad like this, very fall salad, right? I've got sunflower seeds. These are toasted and salted. I keep those always in my cupboard because I like that on a lot of stuff. So I put a couple tablespoons of that. Then I have about a tablespoon of walnuts. I'm going to crush those in my hand because these are walnut quarters and halves. So I don't want big chunks in there. I just want a little bit. And I'll put a little bit more. Walnuts and black truffle go really nice together. And it's a really nice fall salad. Okay. And then I've got cucumber. I'm going to cut the cucumber in half. These are like little Persian cucumbers, which are probably half the size of a European cucumber. What I like about them is that they are very delicate. There's not a big seed packet in them. They're really full of flavor and freshness. And I love them. We're seeing a lot more of them now than you would ever see them before, but European cucumbers are fine with this. Otherwise, you can use domestic cucumber. You just have to peel it first. Then I'm going to take a beautiful fall apple, right? Cut around the sides of it like this. And I'm going to put a lot of apple in there. So you got walnuts, apples. Ooh. Even Winnie, I think, approves. She heard the apples with the walnuts, and she got excited, I think. We're going to slice this up really thin like this. Okay. And that's it, right? I think that's enough apple. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take some of my dressing, spoon this on top. Okay, Winnie, we hear you, baby. She's waiting for dinner. She can smell this. Dogs can smell food just like miles away, I think, because she can smell what's going on. I think she smells those black truffles, and she's like, I smell something good, right? So we're going to just toss this up. And then the last thing I'm going to put in there is a little goat cheese. That'll work really nice with black truffles as well. So a little bit of crumbled goat cheese in there. So goat cheese, apples, walnuts, Brussels sprouts, arugula, cucumber, radish. This is amazing. This kind of flavor. You know, the only thing I could think that you'd want to put from the fall in this that is right here, a pumpkin. Why not put a squash of some type, a hard squash? You could probably cut these, lay them down, olive oil, salt, and pepper, roast them in the oven. That would have been great with this dish. Put a big ring of that roasted pumpkin. You could serve the roasted pumpkin room temperature. Now, I wouldn't serve it cold necessarily, but I would serve it room temperature, like just out of the oven, still a little bit warm, maybe, and cooked all the way through. And then just put this salad next to it with a piece of roasted, with a pork chop. Woo! God, that sounds great. So, that's it. Take a look at that. That's beautiful, right? So, let me move this right here. And I'm going to put this in a bowl so you guys can see it. Wow. That's a nice friendly salad for 2 or 3 people. Let me try it. Make sure we like it. What's not to like about that, right? All of those fall flavors wrapped up in one dish. Super elegant. Very simple for you to do at home. Go get yourself some truffle oil. Go online is a good way to get it. Or ship it right to your house if you're in a place where you can get it shipped to your house. And I think you're going to have a fun time with it. This is a great way to use it, but I'll have some more recipes for you coming up in the near future. So make sure to ring that bell so you see those new videos when they're coming up. And I'll see you back in the kitchen soon. I'm Chef Dean Max, and enjoy your fall.